Well, it seems like this track's slowly coming together now. We're starting to really move along. The lead's down, we have the drums, we've got a bit of a side melody. But I think one thing we do need extra now is another motif. Now, the reason we want to program a motif now is that we can use it as a side melody to augment our pluck melody and add some extra interest at the beginning of the track. Why? Well, look what we have so far. Drums. Well, they play pretty much throughout the track. The bass, that plays pretty much throughout the track as well. So what do we have left? Well, we've got the saw lead, the piano, and the pluck lead. Now with trance, it's unusual to have just one chromatic instrument playing, not including the bass here. Generally, it always consists of two, the two interweaving with one another to produce some interest. Now we're planning, although this could be subject to change later, so don't hold me to this, to have the piano play along with the lead, so we only have the pluck timbre for the intro. And well, it's going to get a bit lonely on its own at the very beginning of the track, so we want to augment that with a small motif, just to work with it and give it some little interest at the beginning. Now, this may not be making much sense to you at the moment, but all I'll say at the moment is it's an arrangement thing. Although we've yet to do the arrangement, we have enough experience to tell us that we need 2 instruments in the beginning, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the end. The rest is made up with sound effects. If you don't quite follow what I mean, stick with us, and by the time we get to the arrangement, I'm sure it'll all start to tie together and you'll see what we mean. It's important to note that a motif is just that. It shouldn't be a particular complex melody at a timbre. Its only purpose is to work alongside the plucked timbre. So in that respect, we need to keep it quite simple. Otherwise, if we make it too complex, it's going to overtake our plucked timbre. Now, since the motif needs to be simple, the timbre can be quite simple as well. Because obviously we don't want it to overtake our main pluck lead, especially after the pain in the ass that programming that pluck lead was. So we're using electric piano. This often provides the best solution since the timbres are pretty simple without too many complex harmonics, so they're not going to overtake the track and make mixing difficult much later. So what we'll do is we'll add a track here and then the EVP88. This is Logic's own, but non-Logic users, it's just an emulation of electric piano. Let's draw a MIDI track in here. Oops. We're writing in B major, so we know our notes are B, C, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. So we need to keep this simple. So we're quite bright as well, so we'll move this up. What we'll do is we'll put a bit of gain on that. It's a bit quiet. It's alright, man. We'll kind of follow the piano a little. One more note. One copper. Oops. There we are. Let's set that down. Let's just play around with this a bit. See if we can get that timbre a bit better on a bit. Turn the bass off it. Turn that down. add some echo points to that. Just give it a little bit of echo. A bit wild for echo, we'll turn that down. What we'll do then, we'll put some reverb on this. Let's go for our presets again. Rooms, we don't want a long reverb. Try simple. Turn it up a bit. We'll just take the heavy bottom end off the reverb. Just so you notice how again we're mixing this into to fit with the rest of the music. Tone down a bit. I'll add a bit of tape delay, I think. Something like that a bit. Let's call it up again. I've got an idea for automation here. Yeah, you basically, I was just experimenting with some automation there. Switch it on and off throughout the mix. When the mix settles down a little, we can add the echo to make it appear more complex, and then take it away again on the next bar. So it could be on for one bar, then off the next bar, then back on again. Actually, I think this is another important concept to mention here. Often, effects aren't required all the time throughout the entire arrangement. A long echo on a particular timbre may sound fantastic in isolation, but when the rest of the instrumentation is playing, it can appear to be too much and it only ends up clouding the mix. The best approach in that case would be to set out the arrangements that the mix breaks down to the timbre with the echo on, and only have the echo playing at that particular part, and then once it all comes back in, you turn the echo off so it isn't noticeable. That's something we'll look at during the arrangement anyway. It was just an idea and I thought I'd mention it now before I forget later. One thing that has been kind of niggling me since we've been playing this back is the pads. I think they sound okay, but I think that the slowness of them now is now pulling the track back. Where it sounded all right at the beginning, but I think now that the pluck timbre's running, and that's programmed in properly, the pads seem to be pulling the mix back a little. So what we'll do, we can pump the pads, we can give them some pulsing energy, which should be able to speed up the mix a bit. So this is just going out to our sidechain track that we created right at the very beginning. when we did the drums. I'll set it quite extreme so you can hear the effect it has. There you go. Obviously we won't want it that bad in the mix. You can hear the difference there. I'll just settle this down a bit and get a bit of a groove going. I don't want to make them too obvious. Just do it so the track grooves a little bit more. Not too obvious. You can only hear it if you're really listening out for it. Well, I'd say we're pretty much there. We've got all the instruments down, our initial ideas. We've produced them. The track's sounding pretty cohesive now. It's all seems to be working. Now's when we experiment. For us, this is where the fun starts. Well, the real fun anyway. This is where we start to experiment by taking our audio and cutting it up and chopping it and changing it around and seeing if we can come up with more interesting timbres. I mean, they're already interesting enough. We took our time programming them so they were. But what we want to do is see if we can make them that bit more interesting and just see what comes out of it. This is the reason why we bounce down our MIDI into audio. Dance music's evolved, and a lot of the timbres you hear now are the result of editing audio, not the MIDI. You'll notice that the results of editing a piece of audio can give entirely different results to that of editing a MIDI file or the parameters within a synthesizer.
Yeah, in effect, we can re-synthesize the original sound now, without using a synthesizer, really. We sort of re-synthesizing by using effects, if we wish. That way we're pushing an already good sound further and hence pushing more interest into a part.
So what we'll do is we're going to have an experiment with this lead timbre, the plucky lead timbre. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it sounds fine as it is. I'd just like to chop it up and just change it around and have a play with it, just see what we can do while it's in audio. So what we'll do is we'll copy that down 4 times and copy the lead onto each one. And colour them so we know what we're doing here, so we don't get lost in all our red audio. What we'll do is we'll cut them into bars. No, actually we'll cut them just less than bars. You just use split bilocators here that'll split all of them at once. Just select them all. There we go. And we'll do the same there. So we're just a beat less than a bar. It gives us that spare bar there, you see. We've used this type of trick before in I think it was a remix we did for Kylie Minogue. What I'll do is delete that and that, and we'll switch. Oops. We'll switch between I'll just delete them and copy that across to save some time. There we go. What we're going to do, we're going to apply Filter Freak onto this first one. put another filter freak on this one. Well, this one with a different setting. Just that one moving as well. I'll put filter freak on that one as well. And again, we'll use a different setting for this one. As I mentioned, we did a similar technique to this on a remix for Kylie. We actually cut up her vocals and did this. It's, not quite the same, but I think this is we're basing this on the same idea. That's a bar as well. Just get them out of the way for now. We'll get all of them coloured in so we can see which ones they are. And we'll send them all out to a bus. Bus full. I'll just name that lead. Motif. And I'll just apply the a low pass filter over the top. Let's turn that up a bit. We do the same experimentation with every track, well, except the drums and the bass, of course. We'll cut things up, move them to different channels, experiment with effects and compression, and generally just play around, see if we can better what we already have. You just listen back to the mix and pick out melodies and have a play with them. I mean, the benefit of sequences is just the unlimited undo functions. We're probably going to spend now the next day just kicking stuff around and experiment. We're going to chop some things up, move them all around and see if something comes of it. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, it's no real loss.